Okay, this is the book I chose. It's called What Pet Should I Get by Dr. Seuss. I love the Dr. Seuss books because they are fun and they keep the kids engaged, and I love all the rhyming. So this book is for a kindergarten or first grade, and the standard is the KLS1-1, Interdependent Relationships in Ecosystems, Animals, Plants, and Their Environment. Use observations to describe patterns of what plants and animals, including humans, need to survive. So what I want to do with this book is read the book and to my students as an anchor book, and that the students, they have to make up their mind at the end, and they have to choose which animal they think that they picked. And what's kind of cool is on the back cover of the book, it says, "What pet should I get?" And they have to choose which pet they got. And it kind of leaves you hanging at the end, and it doesn't tell you which pet that they got. The student has to make up their mind, and they have to decide. And then I think that this would be a great book to have as a writing prompt, to get a writing prompt from this book, and ask the student which pet they got and why. And then maybe ask questions like, what does this pet need to survive? And why did you choose this? Why was this your favorite pet? Another thing that I think would be good to use with this book is as an activity in the classroom is to adopt a class pet. Now this would be something that would that you would use it as an actual, like a stuffed animal, just because of like allergies and things like that with the students. So if you were to adopt a class pet, the students, they would have a stuffed animal. They would, get to take it home for a week. They would, and that would just keep them engaged and excited. And if you told them that they were going to get a class pet and you were going to read this book, and they would just be intrigued. And so this would be a good way. And then we could have a spin and tell phonemic wheel, and we could say, okay, tell me a rhyming word from the book. Let's clap syllables. What is the ending sound? Tell me a word with the same beginning sound. So that would be a good way of pulling in the phonemic wheel, and teaching about that. The rhyming especially, that's a lot of fun in this book. Comprehension strategies that I would use is asking and answering questions. I would give students a purpose for reading. It would help them to think actively, and it helps to review the content and relate to what they already know. And so I could ask questions like, what kind of pets do you have at home? What is your favorite pet? Why is it your favorite pet? And as we go through the book, we'll talk about other questions that we could ask about. So What Pet Should I Get by Dr. Seuss. We want a pet, we want a pet. What kind of pet should we get? So it looks like they're at the pet store. Dad said we could have one. Dad said he would pay. I went to the pet shop. I went there with Kay. And so we went in. I took one fast look. I saw a fine dog who shook hands. So we shook. So I said, I want him. So you can see he's shaking hands with this dog, and so he decides he wants the dog. But then Kay saw a cat. She gave it a pat, and she said, I want that. Then Kay said, now what do you think we should do? Dad said to pick one. We cannot take home two. So here, what words rhymed? But then Kay saw a cat. She gave it a pat, and she said, I want that. And then there the students would say cat, pat, and that. Then what do you know? We saw two other kinds. Now how could Kay and I make up our minds? A pup and a kitten. They look like good fun. Now, which one would we pick? We can only pick one. So here's a cat and a dog. Which one do you think, or a pup and a kitten? Which one do you think they'll pick? The cat or the dog, the kitten and the pup. Oh boy, it is something to make a mind up. And here they are. They're saying, make up your mind. Then I looked all around. I saw something with wings. I said, look at him. We can pick one that sings. But then, you can see the bird, it's singing. Look over there, said my sister Kay. We can go home with a rabbit today. So here's a rabbit looking out of its cage. Then I looked at Kay. I said, what will we do? I like all the pets that I see. So do you. We have to pick one pet and pick it out soon. You know Mother told us to be back by noon. I love how they're looking at each other here. Like, oh no, what do we do? And I could have done it. I could have, I bet. I could have said, what pet should we get? But you know what Kay did? Do you know what she did? She said, fish, 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 fish. It may be a fish is the pet that we wish. Then I saw a new kind, and they were good too. How could I pick one? Now what should we do? We could only pick one. That is what my dad said. But how could I make up that mind in my head? How could I make up that mind in my head? Pick a pet fast. Pick one out soon. Mother and Dad said to be home by noon. Here it is again. Make up your mind. The time may be now to make up my mind. But who knows what other good pets I might find. I might find a new one, a fast kind of thing, who would fly around my head in a ring on a string. Yes, that would be fun, but our house is so small. This thing on a string would bump into the wall. My mother, I know, would not like that at all. Look at this cool, crazy hair. Look how tall this one is. I wonder what it's called. So, maybe some other kind of pet, another kind maybe, is what we should get. We might find a new kind, a pet who is tall, a tall pet who fits in a space that is small. So he's this big, but he fits underneath the desk. Because you can just curl him right up. My mother might like this pet best of them all. If we had a big tent, then we would be able to make or take home a yint. Dad would like us to have a good yint. But how do I know he would pay for a tent? So you see how it is when you pick out a pet. How can you make up your mind what to get? But what if we took one of each kind of pet? Then our house would be full of the pets we would get. No, Dad would be mad. We can only have one. If we do not choose, we will end up with none. I remember my mom telling me that if I didn't pick something out, then I wasn't getting anything. So this is pretty much just what they figured out. If they don't choose, they're going to end up with none. So they're still thinking about all their options here. I will do it right now. I will do it. I said, I will make up the mind that is up in my head. The dog or the rabbit, the fish or the cat. I picked one out fast, and then that was that. So here you can see that he's taking home something. Now, this is where I would ask the students, because the story's over. I'm going to say, what pet should they get? What pet did they take home? So then they're going to have to fill out a little checkbox and pick out one. And this is just notes from the publisher. And back here, it says, what pet should I get is a story about a classic childhood moment, choosing a pet. It is also a story about making decisions. Sometimes it's hard, but you just have to make up your mind. In fact, by ending the story the way he did, Dr. Seuss encourages readers to make up their own minds about how the story ends. So what do you think? What kind of pet did the kids get? So this is the perfect book to go along with pets and ecosystems and what they need to be in their environment. And that's what we will talk about in my classroom one day. And I'll make it interactive where we can pick out a class pet, and we'll go over all the things that an animal needs. And this will help the students, and they'll figure out that, you know, having a pet is a big deal, and there's a lot of things that you have to know. There's responsibilities that come with that, and they'll know what's important about having an animal. So that's all.